Hi everybody, welcome to Legends of Philly on PHL 17 Plus. I'm Jason Lee. Conversations with the biggest names in Philadelphia, and my guest today has been the Eagles Insider for about 3 decades. Not a big deal, right? Dave Spadaro. I always love talking to Dave. Dave, how are you, man? Thanks for doing this.
Jason, my honor to do it. Being called a legend, let's see, does that mean just that you're really old, or what does that mean? But yeah, it's been 30 years. This 2026 is my 30th year with the Philadelphia Eagles. I started prior to that with a newspaper called Eagles Digest. We were a joint publication for the Eagles. So I have been around since the start of time, it feels like.
Well, it's funny because when I saw that it's been 30 years, my first thought was, and I swear I'm not just saying this because I'm talking to you, Dave. You don't look old enough to have done this for 30 years. So, Ace, what's the secret to staying young and looking young?
You're a kind man. It really does help being around a young group of people all the time. The fitness level with the Philadelphia Eagles is really high, so there's a lot of inspiration there.
Nice.
Being a happy person helps a lot. And then hydration, by the way, everybody, the rule of thumb is drink half of your body weight in ounces of water every single day. So if you weigh 150 pounds, drink 75 ounces of water every single day. That stuff helps. And I just stay active and enjoy life. And good fortune, Jason. But thank you very much for the compliment.
Dave, that's a lot of water, man. I'd be floating away if I had to drink that much water. I'm working on it. I'm dropping some pounds, but I still got
You're
a
looking
long way
good,
to
buddy.
go.
You're looking good.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So you mentioned Eagles Digest. I'm curious because people see you and it's like you've got the greatest job in the world. How did this all begin for you?
Yeah, I'll tell you a story. Back in high school, I've always been into sports. And I'm terrible in math. I was never disciplined enough to be able to focus for 8 hours. I always wanted to be in the Philadelphia media. I wanted to be the next Merrill Reese. And way back when in high school, my high school soccer banquet, an old columnist by the name of Bob Vitrone, Buck the bartender,
I remember
back
him,
from the
Daily News.
Yep, Buck the bartender. He came to speak at our high school banquet, and I went up to him after the banquet and I said, "Someday I'm going to be working side by side with you." And he gave me 2 tickets to a basketball game at the Palestra. And so I went to the Palestra, and the streamers came down. The energy was great. And I was like, "This is where I want to be." And then from that point on, I just worked for it. I went to Temple University, worked really hard. My grades were okay. Got right into the business, did a bunch of internships, got a full-time job at my local newspaper back home in Westchester, the Daily Local News,
Okay.
and then the Eagles. After graduation, the Eagles started this publication. They gave me the job. I was the third person. They had offered the job to 2 other people, and they both turned it down. They didn't want to leave the newspaper side for the dark side, the team side. I remember speaking with Rich Hoffman from the Daily News, and he said, "You sure you want to do this? You're going to the team side here." Um, Obviously, newspapers have taken a more difficult turn. Teams have gone in the other direction and joined the organization then in 1987. Or 1997, excuse me. So Eagles Digest was from 89 to 97. And then with the Eagles organization, I've been with them since 1997. And it has been an amazing, amazing ride. And I agree, I do have a great job.
Yeah, and I got to ask you because back then, like Rich Hoffman said, going to the dark side. Newspapers back then, I mean, people were still reading papers. What made you make that decision? What made you have the foresight to realize, you know what, this is the way to go?
I just had the job offer was a good one. I felt I had more power. I had been an editor of a newspaper there, so I felt that that was a good move. I just felt that I had a chance to grow more. I'd really kind of become a little stifled in a small town environment. I'm not no shade at all because it was an incredible place to learn. I just felt that I wanted more, and I felt that if I made that bridge move to the Eagles Digest, I would be exposed to a new group of people, a new environment. I got closer to the Philadelphia Eagles organization, and that's why I took the job. And I really like the people at the publishing company. So at that time, I was an employee of the publishing company, and I ran the newspaper, and that was a great learning experience for me. And then going into the building, the veteran stadium every day. Hey man, I grew up in Westchester. I was a huge Eagles fan. Always been a huge Eagles fan, a huge sports fan. That was great. That was cool. That was something that I could learn from. And seeing those people, Jason, in the organization in such a positive environment. It's very, very negative in a newspaper newsroom. You generally look for kind of negative stories.
Right.
And I just didn't want to be in that environment for too long.
Hey, I got to ask you, and we have to take a break in just a second, but real quick, you mentioned the vet. Was the vet really the dump that people say it was? I mean, for me, and a lot of people say this, it was a dump, but it was our dump. It's the place I grew up going to, but you worked in the building. What was it like for you?
Yeah, it was a dump, but it was our dump, and I get the affection that we all have for it from a fan standpoint. But inside, there were pipes that were leaking, and the tiles up top were not being repaired, and there were rats everywhere. It was really
Yeah.
dark. It was really cold, windy. There was nowhere to get a bite to eat. We had to cater out for everything, or go out for lunch. And no, again, I know that that's what most people do, but from a stadium environment, it just had served its purpose. It was time to turn the page. And then Jeffrey Lurie and Joe Banner and the Philadelphia Eagles, NovaCare Complex, Lincoln Financial Field came along at the perfect time.
I remember hearing John Gruden tell a story about when he was the OC, I guess. He's in his office, and you mentioned the tiles in the ceiling, and he said a rat and a cat came falling through the ceiling and just kind of chased each other through his office, and he thought, here I am, I made it to the NFL, and look at this.
Yeah, here we are in paradise. The league has come a long way since the mid 1990s, and stadiums have too. But John Gruden, one of the again, being around those kind of people my whole life is also very inspiring to me because everybody's so accomplished when they get to the NFL. But yeah, the vet. Now on game days, the vet was intense.
Yep.
It was foreboding. It was a home field advantage. Seeing the players now 30 years later who played at the vet, it's kind of a scary sight. You see how beat up they are after running on that concrete. But
Oh,
for
sure.
the fans, I hear it to this day, Jason, as you do. We loved Veterans Stadium. We miss Veterans Stadium. So from that standpoint, really enjoyed it, but everything else about it sucked.
Listen, you know what? Well said. I couldn't have said that better myself. All right, we got to take our first break here on the show. When we come back, I want to talk more about some of the cool experiences that you've had working for the Birds. We'll do that after this on Legends of Philly. Stay with us. And welcome back to Legends of Philly, conversations with the biggest names in Philadelphia. Today, my guest is the great Eagles Insider Dave Spadaro. And Dave, you've done so many cool things in your role with the Eagles. I remember last year, I texted you right after the parade because you were there hosting it, and I said, what a cool thing. I mean, talk about that experience, looking out over onto the parade route and just seeing that big
I mean,
crowd.
dream of a lifetime
Yeah.
twice. And the first time, I've got good stories. So we win the Super Bowl in Minneapolis, come back. We have no idea how to throw a parade. I mean, you prepare for it logistically with the city prior to the Super Bowl just to make sure that when you win, if you win, you're ready to go. So the night before the parade, I was told that I was going to be the MC of the parade and went, whew, amazing. But to be honest with you, I mean, I I had been drinking the entire time since winning the Super Bowl. I mean, I was partying. And I remember in the locker room after the Super Bowl, the dream of my whole life, being with the Eagles at that time, whatever, 20, 22 years, 23 years, when I would ever have a Lombardi trophy in my hands. And somebody
Right.
handed it to me after the win against the Patriots, and I panicked, and I only had like a minute or two, right? And I wasn't sure. I forgot what my dream was, and then I remembered that my dream was to kiss the trophy, and I went, like just,
You put that
and
picture
so
on
then I was
social media,
told,
right? I remember
yeah,
seeing that.
hold the trophy, kiss the trophy, got the picture, yeah. And then I was told on Wednesday before the parade on Thursday that I was going to be the MC of the parade, by which time I was deathly sick. I didn't think
Ooh.
that 80 other guys would have kissed the trophy. And so I got all medicated up. That morning at the parade, I decided to put some notes down. I really had no idea what to do up there. And then I see Jason Kelsey walking in with his mummer's outfit on, and he and Bo Allen were all dressed up. They had a 30-pack of beer. So we go up, and you kind of, it's very fluid. People are in and out of the parade, introducing people. I introduce Kelsey, and Kelsey goes on this epic rant, right? Like
Yes.
his rant. No, we don't know what to expect. And somebody nudges me and says, "Hey, you got to get him off the stage." And I was like, "What?" you want me to get Jason Kelsey off the stage? And I was like, no way. Can you imagine, Jason, if I had gotten Jason Kelsey off the stage?
You
It
would
would
have
have
been
been
public enemy
the end of
number
my
one.
career. Yeah. But to stand up in front of, at that time, 1 million people, and then 1.5 million people in February of 2025, then there's a huge distance between the microphone and the crowd. So you can't hear anything from the crowd. The crowds are going crazy, but you literally can't hear anything. So you're kind of in this vacuum. And it's an incredible feeling. I've done a ton of, speaking engagements and standing up in front of people. And look, I mean, my wife tells me this all the time. Who has spoken in front of more people in their lives? Maybe the Pope, right? Like in all seriousness, like 1 million
Yeah.
people one time, 1.5 million people another time, and you feel so empowered and just so just center stage of the world. And you got to keep your stuff together and have fun with it. And I knew that the environment was so fun. The whole team's around me. Jason, I've been present for the birth of my two of my both of my children, and they were great experiences. But nothing is like standing up in front of the entire city of Philadelphia, the suburbs, people from coming from all different states around the world. People came to celebrate the Philadelphia Eagles. Thrills of a lifetime, and I hope for another one or two or three.
Absolutely. Are there nerves? Probably a dumb question,
Yeah.
but how nervous do you get? Because not only is it the crowd there, you know that every station's covering the parade live, so you got 1 million people there, but you've got at least 1 million more watching at home.
Yeah, I mean, you have to just translate that nervousness into fun, and we are there to celebrate and have a good time, and really, make sure you stay on script because there's a time limit,
Yeah,
and
right.
make sure that I am not the show. People are not there to see me. I'm there to facilitate and to get it to the stars of the team. So all of that, yes, of course, there's nerves, but it's like all of the work that you've put in your entire life, every dream that you've had in your life, and for anybody who's watching, every dream that you have, when you reach that moment, it's time for you to deliver. It's showtime. And so I think I did a good job. They asked me back to do it a second time, and I thought the Super Bowl 59 was the best I've ever been. And Jason, yeah, there's nerves, but it's like fun, nervous energy, and it's your moment.
Right, right. And you've had a lot of moments, and you are, in effect, the representative of the team in terms of the fans, and you are truly everywhere, Dave. And I wonder, talk about that role, because, I mean, there are mornings when you come here to PHL 17, and I'll be in the newsroom, and I'll be watching the bank of TVs that we have. I'm like, okay, there's Dave on Channel 10. Oh, okay, now Dave's on Channel 29.
Yeah.
Then Dave will come to us. So you are on like every TV station when it comes, for the lead up to an Eagles game.
Yeah, and I really appreciate you having me on.
Oh,
And
I
I
love
think
it.
that one of the things there's a couple things that I'm really many things that I'm very proud of. Like I am a member of the team. Fans know that I'm the homer. It's okay to hear from the homer, but I also feel that I give fair and really educated analysis of the football team, what might happen on game days, etc. That I've earned the respect of your station, of other stations, of the fans to be present a view of the team. And I am the Eagles Insider, and there's only one. And my job, in part, and I can discuss other very important parts of my job, is to present the message from the team throughout my career. And my job's changed a bunch through the years. The media, as we know, has changed so much through the years. But to be able to go on to media outlets and present my viewpoint when those media outlets know that I'm a member of the Eagles, yet they still respect that I'm presenting as impartial and certainly educated and entertainment with good energy and positive energy and just good analysis and good insight about what the Philadelphia Eagles are going to do or what they might do. That's really a compliment to me, and I appreciate that very much. That you have been able to have me on for so long, and that I've been able to be a part of the Philadelphia media scene, both with the Eagles media and with the outside media, that to me is a great accomplishment in my career.
Well, I tell you this every time you're on. You bring it every time. You're gold every
Thank
time.
you.
But I want to talk more about that, the balance between talking about the team and working for the team. Got to take a break now, but we'll talk more about that when we come right back on Legends of Philly. More with Dave Spadaro coming up after this. Welcome back to Legends of Philly here on PHL 17 Plus. These are conversations, long-form conversations with big names in Philadelphia. I've got the Eagles Insider with me for this program, Dave Spadaro. Dave, we were talking about your role, talking about the team, but then again, you do work for the team. One thing I've always respected about you, you are not afraid to criticize when it's warranted. And I'm curious the balance there between having to criticize the team and being an employee of the team. How do you balance that? And do you ever get any feedback about that from the team?
Yes, I get a lot of feedback internally. Through the years, you learn how to do it. Philadelphia is a very educated sports market. I'm not going to come on and BS if the Eagles don't play well. And that would destroy any credibility that I have,
Right.
any respect with the audience that I have. So there is a balance. And it comes from knowing what you're seeing and being fair and being objective, not going overboard in the criticism. And by the way, Jason, since I've been with the Eagles, this has been a really good football team.
Yeah.
Since Jeffrey Lurie bought the team, we know about the 8 trips to the NFC Championship game, the 4 trips to the Super Bowl. I think what is it, 12 NFC East titles, 19 playoff appearances. I mean, when the Eagles have been down, they haven't been down for long. And 2025 is a bad season for the team. And the Eagles had 11 wins, won the NFC East, and got to the playoffs. So
Right.
we keep it in perspective. But you don't go overboard and you don't invent things. And a lot of it was born from one of the things I did early in my career. And really, one of the things I was notable for was taking the Eagles website back when website was the dominant, the emerging dominant medium, replacing newspapers. And we made that into a powerhouse. And we understood that what fans wanted was access. And then a lot of analysis, a ton of content. And so you learn your boundaries at that point. And I've been doing TV and radio and all sorts of media since the 1990s and since the 1980s, actually, when the Eagles Insider brand was created. So you learn your boundaries. I've gone over the boundaries at times. I have absolutely heard it from the team. I have heard a great story from the other side. So we are in the 2004 Super Bowl, Super Bowl 39. We lose the game to the Patriots. And Angelo Cataldi at the time was a radio host in Philadelphia,
Sure.
we all know. He had a
Yep.
TV show. And he and Joe Wechter, the producer, must have had 15, 20, 30, 40 people they asked to come on the show, the TV show the next day. They all said no. He asked me, and I said, sure, I'll go, but I had to bring my kids. And we went to Chickies and Pete's. Angelo's here, I'm here. And Angelo's, the controversy there was that Andy Reid ran a really slow 2-minute warning,
I remember
and
that.
that
Yep.
Jonathan McNabb threw up, and
Right.
Andy's badgering, you're a homer, you're a lapdog, you're a da, da, da. And he goes, okay, and then they go to break. And Angelo looks over, and my daughter is crying, like just sobbing,
Oh
6 years
no.
old, sobbing. And Angelo says, no, no, honey, no, it's just show business. Your daddy's not a lapdog. Your daddy's not a homer. And it just kind of just illustrated to me that this is show business. This is entertainment. Have fun with it. Be fair. Don't go too far in one direction or the other direction.
Right.
I've learned that you don't celebrate for real until it's something really significant, a division title, a playoff victory, an NFC East win or an NFC win, a championship win, a Super Bowl victory. Otherwise, keep everything as measured as you can. And look, my job is simply to help keep the fans engaged until game day, from one game day to the next, and to help get the message from the team to our many, 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 many fans around the world.
And you do a heck of a job at it.
Thank you.
I only have like 2 minutes to go. I want to get this in before we wrap it up because you've mentioned Jeff Lurie a couple times in this conversation. Most of us don't know Jeff Lurie. We'll never meet Jeff Lurie. I've never met the man. I don't know Howie Roseman, never met the man. But from the outside looking in, it really seems like the Birds are a first-class organization. What's it like working for Jeff Lurie and what's it like working for Howie Roseman? And is Howie Roseman really as intense as he seems?
Yes. Well, yeah, the latter is true. Howie's totally into it, believes in great energy, is not afraid to take chances. Jeffrey, and I love Howie. The job Howie's done, and the lesson of Howie Roseman is this: if you get knocked down, get back up.
Yep.
Because Chip Kelly humiliated Howie,
Yes,
and
he
Chip
did.
Kelly's the worst, the worst. And I'm so proud of Howie to call him a friend, to see what he's done professionally, to be the best GM in the game after he was embarrassed by Chip Kelly. Jeffrey, two missions: make a positive impact, use your platform the right way, make a positive impact in the community. And he's done that from day one. And our entire organization helps those around us. We know there's a lot of people in need. We help as much as we can. And then to win multiple Lombardi trophies, and we've done that. And Jeffrey is creative. Jeffrey lets you do your job. He surrounds himself with the right people. He wants you to be risk adverse, not to be risk adverse. Take chances. I spit on the star back in 2010. They didn't fire me. They told me never do that again, but we understand why you did it. You're trying to create new content. You're trying to push the envelope.
Right.
And I really appreciate Jeffrey having confidence in me, having faith in me, always making me feel good. The organization is first class all the way, totally driven to win. Disappointed that the Super Bowl 60 was not the Philadelphia Eagles bringing home another Lombardi trophy. So we're going for it again in 2026. But it's a positive, energetic, nonstop working environment at the NovaCare complex and at Lincoln Financial Field. And everybody is for everybody to have success.
Well, Dave, let me wrap this up by saying you are first class all the way. I always enjoy these conversations. As always, the time flies by. We could probably talk for hours if we wanted to, but I have to stop it right here. And I can't thank you enough for doing this, and I look forward to catching up again soon.
I can't thank you enough for having me, Jason. Thank you so much. It's an honor to be called a legend, and look forward to working with you for the rest of the season here in 2026.
I cannot wait, Dave. Thank you. And everybody, thank you for watching
Go
Legends of
Birds!
Philly. Go Birds, yes. We'll
Go
see you
Birds!
next time on
You got
Legends
it.
of Philly.